welcome to the future, otherwise known as episode 54 of tomorrow's World Audit Time. Evening, Mark.
Evening, Russ. How are you, sir?
Oh, very good, Mark. Very excited, actually. It's one of those episodes where we've been sent a letter. We've received a missive, Mark. Before we get on to anything else, we need to address the missive that we've received.
Yeah, go on.
All the way from the other side of the world.
Genuinely.
So, you remember 2 episodes ago?
No.
Well,
Of course I do.
in episode 52, the subject of the Chris Rea song Let's Dance came up. And I noticed that the B-side to that was called I Don't Care Anymore. And thought it was quite interesting in a very boring way that in 1983, David Bowie and Phil Collins had songs called Let's Dance and I Don't Care Anymore. And then we wondered whether our listeners, and boring muso listeners, who had any similarly strange musical coincidence facts. And only one person emailed us, but it's an absolute doozy, I'd say, Mark.
He smashed it out the park, Russ.
John from Adelaide emailed us and he said, Dear Tomorrow's World Audit Time, on the latest episode, you asked for a boring muso to let you know of any song name coincidences. Well, in 1983, U2 the band released War, and War the band released U2. Does that fit the brief? Cheers from Adelaide, John.
Yes, John, that does fit the brief.
Absolutely.
As well you know. That's exactly what we were looking for.
That is both fascinating and boring, and exactly the ratios that we were looking for.
Exactly. Yeah, it's more, it's fuel for our fire, grist for our mill, or whatever, Russ. That's absolutely perfect. Now, in my defence, you did have to remind me what we had asked. And then the second you did, I thought, he smashed it. Absolutely smashed it. Now that I know what he's doing, he absolutely smashed it. So thank you, John. That was really, really brilliant to receive.
I would say if this is a Google competition, trying to find War by U2 is significantly easier than trying to find U2 by War.
U2 by War.
In fact, it took me about 10 minutes of intense Googling to find U2 by War. It's quite good, actually. It's kind of like, it's very funky. It's a very funky 9-minute instrumental in three or four parts instrumental track from one of their albums. There isn't actually a song called War on the U2 album War. It's just the name of the album. Mm-hmm. So
no, I did know that. So which is why, I still think he smashed it. But straightly speaking, if we are going to be pedantic, and we are, one is a single, one is an album. But thanks, John. Thanks for the effort.
But the band War, famous for 2 songs, both of which I enjoy. Why Can't We Be Friends? Yep. Which you might remember. Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? That one.
Oh yeah.
She used at the end of Lethal Weapon 4. Yeah. And Lowrider, which was used in the old Marmite adverts in the 1990s.
Oh, yeah.
So I think actually War the band are significantly better than U2 just on the basis of those 2 songs. So, in your face, Bono.
You say that, Russ, but I happen to know that when U2 played Glastonbury, you were front and centre, big fan, heart emojis coming out of your eyes. At least that's how I choose to remember. Your variation may differ.
All those T-shirts I sold. So this episode, Mark.
Oh, hang on, before we could just on the back of John's letter, his missive.
Oh yes,
his circular. Does anyone else have something similar that they can share with us? Because now that we've had one, frankly, I need more. And can anyone else write in for an even more exotic location than Adelaide? And even better, can someone from an even more exotic location than Adelaide come up with an even more boring musical coincidence than John did? I would love to know who can fulfill that brief. I'm assuming John obviously is Australian. There's no way he just happens to be an expat from Britain. I can't imagine any expats from Britain listening to a podcast about tomorrow's world outside the shore. So he must be a local.
Yeah,
he just happened to chance upon our stuff.
Although if John is Australian, do you think he thought to himself, "That's not a fact. This is a fact." Before getting on his computer and typing it out, I assume that's what he did.
Even though I do personally know Australians, if I do know one thing about them, Russ, they do like saying things in that format.
Anyway, this episode we just had a quick look to see what years we hadn't done yet. And amazingly, even though we've done 54 episodes, there are still several years that we've never actually covered somehow due to reasons. And one of those years was 1972, a year very dear to me, Mark, for 2 reasons.
Yeah.
1 is the year my sister was born.
That's a good reason.
And 2, it was the year that a crack commando unit was sent to prison by a military court for a crime they didn't commit.
No way! Wow.
As you might remember, Mark.
I do, yes. It's good to see the legal the legal service working correctly. That's the one thing I took away there. Because frankly, Russ, they didn't exactly learn from their lesson, did they? That's what I remember from A-Team. Bad behaviour all across the board.
They never killed anybody, though, Mark. They never killed anybody, despite spraying bullets everywhere. Yeah, and also what was nice is that this episode we get to see a bit more of old Burke, the Burkenator. Who
also has been requested recently.
Yes, somebody mentioned on Instagram. Someone who we don't see all that often because he's not. We haven't got. I don't think there's that many episodes in existence with him in, but who I tremendously enjoy, and I think that
both of us do.
His piece in this episode is quite something. An incredibly short episode as well, Mark. Possibly the shortest episode we covered.
Remarkably.
I looked at the Radio Times.
Fingers crossed, this could be our shortest as well.
I did look up at the Radio Times. It was squeezed in. It was on at 6:45 and then finished at 7:05. So yeah, only 20 minutes long.
2 very natural times of television shows, right?
I think it's back then the BBC was so dominant that they could just put programmes on whenever they wanted and for any duration they wanted because they just assumed everyone was just watching it. There was no idea of competition between the channels. Really. So yeah, just do what they want. Raymond's presenting live anyway, so it could be as long or as short as they like.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, shall we take a look?
Let's do it. Let's see how quickly we can get this done.
All right.
The unemployment rate amongst spies can never have been lower. As Bond, Callan and Commander Ryan live out our fantasies on the screen, hordes of bona fide spies must be secretly working overtime late into the night. But like the rest of us, from time to time, they need a day off. And what better relaxation than a quiet trip in the country? The trouble is, they never quite seem able to relax.
This is it. Easy.
The latest thing in advertising. Daylight fireworks. And you'll very likely be seeing them on British beaches and racetracks this summer, flying not 17-foot Union Jacks, but advertising slogans. Daylight fireworks are similar to big display fireworks, but instead of showers of sparks, they contain parachutes and flags. They were invented last century by the Chinese for daytime festivals. Their parachutes were shaped like birds and dragons, but they proved unreliable and dangerous and only went up to 200 feet. Now a British firework company has overcome these problems. Using modern technology, they've developed a charge strong enough to destroy the casing, but never the contents. The charge inside this cone shoots the bomb out of the mortar pipe 500 feet into the air. A time fuse and charge inside the casing are pasted onto the bottom of one half of the shell. The explosion breaks the compressed paper shell into harmless fragments, allowing the lightweight paper flag to unfurl with the parachute. But it's no child's toy and must only be used by professionals for displays. Its main drawbacks are that it only stays aloft for a minute and can't be used more than once. But let it never be said that the sun set on litter made from a Union Jack. Even Britain's most secretive citizens are anxious to keep their country tidy.
Bond, Cannon, and Commander Ryan, Mark. Are they your three favourite spies?
They are now, Russ. I don't know who my favourite fictional. Oh, do you know? I love the Ipcress files too much, really.
Oh yes, yeah, that's a good one.
I'm surprised he didn't mention
Harry Palmer.
That's it, yeah. Harry Palmer. Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't mention him because I would have thought he was slightly more iconic than Cannon, who didn't mean anything to me. And Commander Ryan doesn't mean anything to me. I know Jack Ryan, but he's a little bit after this.
Well, here's the thing. I had to look into this, Mark. Immediately, I thought, what's going on? Firstly, Cannon. My immediate assumption was I remembered that there was a TV series called Cannon. I couldn't remember what it was about, but I looked into that, and interestingly, it came out on the BBC in 1972, but it had been out in America in 1971. But the thing is that is about a fat private detective called Frank Cannon, right? And that program is just called Cannons, right? And it's the only program I could find called Cannon, and there's no film called Cannon. So, but it was on. I checked the Radio Times. It didn't premiere on BBC One until October 1972. So I'm thinking, is it the case that word had got over that there's this TV program called Cannon, and they just assumed he was a spy because they'd never seen it?
Oh, that's an elegant solution, Russ. Yes. Yeah, that makes sense.
He was actually described in the Radio Times as the fat detective, which I thought was quite funny. And then Commander Ryan. This is a classic bit of BBC, what's the word? Synergy. Synergy. Brand synergy, Mark. A bit of
Brand
BBC
synergy,
cross-promotional brand synergy. Yeah. The programme immediately after this episode of Tomorrow's World is called Spy Trap.
Hush your mouth.
And have a guess what the lead character's name is.
Are they Commander Ryan?
Yeah, it's Commander Ryan. Yeah.
Wow.
So
that's...
Yeah.
Unabashed.
Yeah. So this programme, I've never heard of this programme, but it must have been big because the BBC were putting it on 4 days a week, every week. So Monday to Thursday, stripping it across the week at 7 o'clock, roughly.
Not everything.
And they did it for like several months.
Stripped, right?
So it'd be a different story each week.
Across the 4 episodes?
Yeah. It depended how long the story was. So some weeks there was only 2 episodes for the story, and then they'd only put it on Wednesday and Thursday. But then other times it was 4-part story, and they put it on Monday to Thursday, and they did it for months. It's very highly rated. It's got 7.9 on IMDb, and it appears to be mostly all on YouTube. I had a very quick look at it. It's a very sort of black and white studio-based thing, mostly, of actors talking in rooms. The only actor I recognised in it was Julian Glover, who we all remember as the baddie out of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, of course.
Yeah.
So this is just Raymond just blatantly advertising the what's coming up next on BBC One.
Gosh. Okay, that is interesting because I was thinking as I was rewatching it there that, you know, the older I get, the more I become obsessed / annoyed by the sometimes confusing and clunky way Tomorrow's World dresses up a segment, not for our entertainment, but seemingly theirs. Like they just, rather than just flatly explain something, they need to create a story. And the whole spy narrative, that, I mean, it's his opening line, isn't it? The unemployment rate among spies can never have been lower.
Yes.
And this has nothing to do with spying or spycraft at all. In fact, these spies are at best drawing attention to themselves. It's so odd. I found it so peculiar. And they absolutely, you know, they commit to the bit entirely, even to the point where he references later on in a segment that is much more appropriate for discussing spycraft and kind of secret approaches to
espionage.
I don't want to give it away. So, yeah. Thank you. Espionage style thing. I didn't like it, but not least because, you know, as I said to you in the notes, it's like the unemployment rate among spies can never have been lower. This is, you know, we're only 3.5 years on from the Cuban Missile Crisis. I've got a suspicion the spying industry is on a hiring boom at the moment. And we know that, not least because apparently everyone at the BBC was on MI5's books anyway.
I think Raymond would have made quite a good spy, actually, wouldn't he?
There was not there is not a doubt in my mind that he wasn't, that he didn't get the tap on the shoulder.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they all helped out.
Yeah.
We find out later he's on his way to Australia. He didn't fly directly to Australia. He stopped off on his way, and I have no doubt he was keeping the British end up out there too.
Well, actually, weirdly enough, this firework did slightly remind me of the Roger Moore skiing off a cliff and then it turning into a Union Jack parachute.
And I had to remind myself that this predates that.
Yeah.
It's almost is this where James Bond got it from?
Maybe,
it's so
yeah.
odd because it's they're pitching us the idea of daytime fireworks, which aren't really fireworks at all, so much as they are a kind of a delivery system for something that comes down on a parachute to advertise stuff, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
In this case, they've used the Union Jack,
Yeah.
but I think the idea is that at some kind of big county fair, these get sent up and maybe it either kind of advertises the wares of a local farm wholesaler or something else. I don't know, but it's like the disconnect for me between what was being delivered and the way they used to advertise it.
Yeah.
I found kind of fascinating.
Well, my assumption was, assuming that this was always filmed with the idea that they were spies, which is not necessarily the
Yes.
case, but
No.
the fact that James Bond and Commander Ryan, at least,
Yeah.
both men, like smartly dressed posh men who wear suits, right? And I mean, you could think of other spies and stuff like the Man from U.N.C.L.E. and all those sort of things. Always smartly dressed, well-to-do men
gentleman
in suits,
spy,
gentlemen,
yes.
right? The two men in this piece are very, very much not that. They look like trade unionists, don't they? They look like they should be on a picket line.
Yeah.
They've got sort of those thick outdoor jackets and like sort of rough hair, big sideburns, quite old,
kind of donkey jacket style thing.
quite
right?
old,
and
out
actually,
of shape fellas.
And now that you say it, it's like just re-looking back at it, it's like we see footage first initially of a kind of of like a military airfield or something like that, and you kind of they turn up and they're kind of looking at barrels and seeing there's an X on one. You think, oh, I suppose initially you're supposed to think this is kind of some kind of active sabotage, and of course it isn't. It's daytime fireworks to kind of advertise to people. But now that you've said that, and in that context, at the end, you kind of think like, oh, actually, now I know what they're doing, which is they weren't going to kind of cause trouble at, RAF Northolt or whatever. They were off to pick out an oil can to be their next brazier.
But I mean,
And somebody had marked the ripest one fresh for
I think
striking.
I think what the BBC is pushing the establishment, because obviously it's well known that the establishment and MI5 and MI6 was almost entirely staffed by posh people from Eton, Oxford, Eton, where a place public school and all of that, and they were very, very distrustful of left-wing groups on the assumption that they were all communists. So I'm thinking that this piece is pushing is playing on the establishment view so these blokes are meant to be communist spies. We are meant to think that these blokes are communist spies because people say things are coded these days, don't they?
That's exactly what I said. They are coded.
They're coded as lefty troublemakers who could
Yeah,
possibly be working for the Russians.
Yeah.
And you think, they're up to no good. They're coming to this airfield to, blow a plane up or something like that. And then
But actually,
we have the sense of sense of release. They do the old switcheroo. The firework goes off, and it's a Union Jack, and they salute it. And we go, we've had our establishment prejudices confounded.
Russ.
That's my
Confounded,
theory of
but
what's
they-
going on in this piece.
No,
Mark.
I think that is that and a little bit of synergy for the BBC. That makes perfect sense because God knows nothing else does. No, I think that's absolutely right. I think that's. I think it's one of those things that's slightly lost in translation. But you have taken out the codec and you've managed to crack the code. So well done. I know it does make sense in that thing because they never allude to anything other than. Yeah, I think it's all there, isn't it?
And they've got that Saab,
they're even driving a Continental car.
it's a strange Scandinavian car, and Scandinavians, they're basically communists, aren't they?
Yeah, they're one step removed.
Yeah.
No, that makes perfect sense.
Unfortunately, couldn't find what that ominous music was that they played.
No, it is good though.
Lost the time, but it was very good. Sort of thing you would hear played in a spy film when something exciting's happening.
Yeah.
And then of course they play Rule Britannia, which we've had before. We had in the Channel Tunnel episode. I thought it was interesting that they were saying that this is an improvement on the original Chinese daytime fireworks that were invented like over 100 years ago. But the Chinese ones were birds or dragons. I thought, that sounds much. I mean, in my imagination, that sounds much better than a flimsy flimsy old Union Jack coming down. But unfortunately, we don't get to see what they look like, so we'll never know. Have you ever seen a distress flare, Mark?
Not in person.
The light up ones that you find, like you can get those. Those have parachutes on them as well, so they're kind of the similar principle. I don't know whether.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You can still buy these. They're called parachute fireworks. Unsurprisingly, there's a range of daytime fireworks available, and these ones are called parachute fireworks. Weirdly, consumer ones that you or I could buy, they normally have like a little army man or a little like some sort of action figure attached to the parachute. I couldn't find very many flag ones.
How are kids not supposed to want to play with those?
I know. Yeah, I think it's kind of that. I think it's like you fire it off and then your kid can run out and catch it, I guess. That's more. I don't know. That's more of just a toy than a firework. But at that point, isn't it? Really.
Straight into the firing zone. Okay, yeah. That sounds like a toy, not a.
Yeah, couldn't find any Union Jack ones. Mark, have a guess. Which nation's flag I could find quite a lot of?
Is it the United States of America?
Yes, it is. Yes, it's right. Yeah.
Capital out of America.
Yeah.
The weird thing is you're not supposed to let that flag land on the ground, right?
Oh, no. Maybe it comes.
Yeah, so
maybe it comes with its own
out
flagpole. It somehow injects into the floor.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah,
self-saluting flag. But yeah, they do have professional displays of daytime fireworks. Yep. They don't use the parachute ones though, Mark. They're not that great. They mainly use a combination of coloured smoke and explosions and bright sparks. Will do everything.
Oh, I did. I've seen it at the football. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great for obviously good for daytime sporting events. Also good for say you want a display just after you've got married and you've got married in the afternoon. You can set them off.
Or bloody gender reveals or whatever.
Yeah. I did. I've got one example, a quick one. I found I thought was quite a good one.
Ooh.
I mean, if your flag was a tricolor, you could probably actually do a flag with that. Because you could make stripes.
Yeah, Hungary.
I saw another one where
Netherlands.
Somebody tried to make a rainbow out of them. It was quite good. There is something about it happening during the daytime that it sort of gives kind of Apocalypse Now napalming vibes, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, absolutely. It does, which is not the look you're going for, or certainly not the vibe, I suppose. Yeah. I mean, the thing about outdoor fireworks is like ultimately just like the addition of that word outdoor does make it sound really disappointing.
Daytime, you mean? Sorry.
Daytime, not daytime.
Indoor fireworks are disappointing.
Yeah, indoor and daytime fireworks are the worst, though, right? Yeah.
Just striking a match is basically it's about as good as you get with that. I guess that's daytime fireworks, Mark. Super.
I just want to put a pin in something.
Yeah.
After the paper flag comes down, we cut to our clearly not agitprop leftists who are busy tidying up the flag from the hedgerow, and Derek Small says Britain's most secretive. Was it Derek Small?
That's much the Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
Derek Cooper.
Oh, I watched that trailer. Derek Cooper. Sorry, I did watch that trailer the other day for Spinal Tap 2. I'm not convinced.
Right.
Even Britain's most secretive citizens are anxious to keep Britain tidy. Let's just put a pin in that, Russ.
Okay.
I want to come back.
I'll
to
bear that in mind, Mark. I can't possibly imagine what you're referring to, but
no, just keep it a secret, right?
Yeah. Let's see what's happened next.
We're all too sadly familiar with sights like these, the results of a multiple pile-up on the motorways. Now, in the last 6 months, 28 people have been killed and 155 injured in motorway crashes involving a number of vehicles. Some of those people probably died because they couldn't be pulled out from their cars or lorries quickly enough. 10 years ago, an American engineer saw a friend of his on a racing circuit trapped for over an hour in a crashed car before he could be freed. And the very next day, this engineer started to design a new type of rescue tool, and here it is. It's an hydraulically operated giant tin opener, capable of levering apart pieces of metal or any other material with a working force at the tips of the jaws of 10,000 pounds. It's remotely powered by a 5-horsepower petrol engine, the kind of thing you might use to power your outboard on your dinghy, And first of all, I ask our visiting expert, Jim Thompson, to fire up the motor. The motor, of course, drives a pump which provides the hydraulic power along these twin power lines, which can be as much as 40 feet long, to give maximum versatility and safety. Now, the tool itself is operated by these two finger and thumb triggers, which open and close the arms under power both ways. You push them in to close, pull them out through. It takes 15 seconds to fully open without a load, and 30 seconds when they're doing their job against metal. The jaw arms will spread maximum to 32 inches. They are made here from forged titanium to provide the necessary strength with lightness. The whole equipment weighs 55 pounds, so it can be operated by one man, albeit a strong one. But even so, it's light in comparison to an equivalent hydraulic jack. Let's see what it can do. Over here, we've got the kind of situation which could trap a man. His arm could be here, or his shoulder, or most horrific of all, perhaps his head. Right, Jim, have a go with that. Now, because the tool generates no flame or sparks in operation, it's safe, even as so often happens when there's spilled petrol on the road after an accident. In Britain, of course, it is the fire service that is responsible for pulling people out of vehicles after accidents, and they've told us that about one road accident in 4 to which they are called involves extricating drivers or passengers, and that meant nearly 3,000 people in 1970. So last week we demonstrated this device to some members of the London Fire Brigade concerned with the use of rescue equipment in road accidents, and they thought that it had a considerable potential in helping to save lives. Well, Jim's already done a pretty formidable job, certainly enough to give us an idea of how it works. I'll go and switch it off. Well done, Jim. How are your muscles? Thank you. No doubt the fire service, which already has a wide range of specialized equipment, is ideally geared to cope with the various problems following a fire or accident. But it seems to me that this rescue tool, because it is so compact, could fit into the boot of a car and could therefore well be carried by police or other motorway patrol vehicles.
Well, Mark, believe it was the last episode, you were lamenting that we hadn't seen a presenter talking over loud sounds for a while.
I was.
And this is an absolute cracker of that particular trope, isn't it, Mark? It's got to be one of the loudest sequences that a presenter has had continuously talked over that we've ever seen.
Absolutely. It was a total joy, especially when he it's so loud he has to utilise the kind of the John Motson style commentary microphone, which, as you rightly pointed out, he only uses when he's further away from the object he was struggling to speak over before.
Yeah, it's strange. It's like I didn't understand it because his voice didn't change. He didn't sound any more or less clear really when he changed microphones. Or I was wondering, did the machine get louder when the jaws were opening?
That was my assumption. It was actually I think it was. It got louder. Also, like the car was being ripped open as well.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. But it's nice. It's nice to see something that we know. I mean, we don't need to go ask was this a success.
No,
this is an absolute. This has come fully formed to our screens. I mean, it looks like how I picture Jaws of Life looking these days. This
is brilliant. This is kind of why we started this. This and like Swivel-Eyed Lunacy were the two things. Wouldn't it be great to see the first demonstration of British TV of something that has become incredibly important?
Yeah.
And wouldn't it be great to see something so stupid and mad that they try and convince us are brilliant, that we know for a fact has not made it into the future because we're living in that future right now. And this is a prime example of, I think in the first episode we covered, wasn't it the scanning tunneling microscope? It's brilliant. It's like first demonstration of it, and you get to watch them explain something that we know has lived on and changed our lives. And this is a prime example. I also, like you, if I had to picture what the Jaws of Life look like, I'd probably picture something like this, and I assume they still do look like this.
Yeah.
They've saved millions of lives.
Weirdly reminiscent of Emu when emus looking to start trouble.
Yeah.
As in Rod
yeah.
Halsey view. There was a point where the Jaws of Life were sort of coming into the screen from the side.
Yes, absolutely right.
Had that sort of sinister, beaky quality. They do work a treat, don't they? Imagine having the power of being able to just prise cars open like that. I mean, I'm surprised more people just don't have them in there. Just go around prizing stuff. I mean, just for laughs. Yeah.
I will say, and I by all means, Russ, you can list all the cars that you've seen in the show. They do look like they made a papier-mâché, those cars in the 1970s. Jim is not having to put a huge amount of effort. Like, the toughest thing he's doing is holding the Jaws of Life up.
Yeah,
if anything, the car gives away too easily.
That's something I forgot to mention, Mark, regarding cars.
Yep.
Opening titles.
Oh, yes.
So,
I was going to prompt you. Yes.
Last episode, I was talking about the Bentley Rhythm Ace. Bentley's going to get you. Bentley's going to sort you out.
Bentley's going to sort you out, yeah.
Video. And I had said, near the end of there's stunts going backwards, and near the end of the video, they, in reverse, completely explode, a gold Mark V Ford Cortina, which is very similar to one I used to own.
Mm.
I had completely forgotten, until I saw the opening title sequence of this, that the very last thing they show in the opening title sequence in this era is a Mark III Cortina, which I also used to own after I owned the gold Mark V one, being blown up in reverse. So what are the chances of two Ford Cortinas that I used to own being exploded in reverse in two of the things that we've covered in episodes subsequent to each other? It's just weird. It's freaking me out, Mark, how these things are all getting linked up.
Yeah. The only answer I can give is, like, I don't know. It does seem like an odd coincidence, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm certain it's coincidence, but it does seem a bit odd, Russ. Like, can you think of some kind of meta-narrative theory that can? Am I receiving messages through in reverse?
Yeah.
Maybe you're sending them to yourself from your death.
Something's. Yeah, I'm trapped in a false reality, and these messages are trying to come through to me.
Oh, what does that mean? I am. That's a bit rude.
Anyway, yes. So yeah, it's a Ford Anglia and a Hillman Minx that old what's his name? Jim.
Yep.
Is prizing open here. I thought it was nice that Raymond asked him how his muscles are at the end.
Well, you say nice. I've got a different view of this. So Jim Thompson, they call him visiting expert Jim Thompson. So notice the word expert there. This to me is it feels like the beginning of a worrying trend I've spotted in Baxter. And this obviously it kind of builds on the episode where he turns up as kind of like the caretaker of a school, and he puts on like a faux Cockney accent. Where I have a suspicion, I almost want to go back and look at old episodes. Does Raymond Baxter consistently patronise the working class or just blue-collar work in general? Because apparently Jim's an expert, and yet he still feels the need to make this kind of throwaway, cheeky, chappy comment that he wouldn't have done if Jim was like Professor Jim. He would have gone, "Oh, how are your muscles, Professor Jim?" So I just want, again, not for later on this episode, but let's put a pin in that. I think this could be the start of a disturbing trope we may have alighted on.
Obviously, I couldn't. A man called Jim Thompson, I'm not going to be able to find.
It's so generic.
It's a generic name.
It's actually so generic.
I have no idea who he is, whether he's a rep for the Jaws of Life company or whether he's just a stagehand or what. But yeah,
I assumed he must have been a stagehand or something.
You think?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Weird that he turns up in like a suit and trousers rather than like overalls. He's meant to be in overalls to doing that sort of job, but
yeah.
But I suppose he's on TV. He's got to dress smart, hasn't he, these days?
Well, the Queen could be watching us.
Yeah. Jaws of Life, Mark. Very much an American invention. Raymond does briefly touch on it. A man called George Hurst who in 1961. George Hurst was very big in the world of motorsports and drag racing and things, and stock car racing and all American motorsport type things in the early 60s. Well, actually throughout the 60s, because he had a company called Hurst Performance. And what they would do is they would make new gearboxes, transmissions, and gear shifters for racing cars or drag races and things like that. Because the ones that come with the cars as stock from the manufacturers were, as you can probably imagine, rubbish. And if you wanted a bit more performance, he would make custom ones for you, or like really high quality off the shelf ones. And he became really, really famous in motorsport in America in the 60s. So, and I've actually put he was a very good self promoter. So I put a few pictures there. He had special customized cars with giant gear sticks on the back. Yeah. And then he'd have like a bevy of lovely ladies in swimwear on posing next to these gear sticks. And he'd drive around the track on it. And that lady at the bottom there, that was his biggest promotional lady. She was called Linda Vaughan, and she was Miss Hurst Golden Shifter, as she was known as. And she was like super famous in American motorsports throughout the 60s and 70s. She even turned up in the film The Gumball Rally, which is like a predecessor to Cannibal Run, which weirdly I've never seen, probably because it's not got Burt Reynolds in it. But yeah, so Hurst was actually, despite being this quite brash, self-promotional man, also had something of a conscience, and he was well aware that him making all these cars go faster meant that he was actually probably causing more cars to crash. And then he saw somebody, I think it was a friend of his, had a nasty car crash at Indianapolis in 1961. And at the time, the only way they could get, if somebody's trapped in the wreckage, the only way they could get people out was with like circular saws, and just like crowbars and hammers and things like that, jacks. And the problem with, especially with a circular saw, is it causes sparks. And if you've just got a freshly crashed car, it's probably just dumped loads of petrol all over the track. So you're quite liable to like make the car blow up. And also, if you've got a person trapped in a car in distress, waving a circular saw in their face is probably not going to, calm them down at all. So old George, being an engineer, got working and came up with what he initially called the Hurst Power Rescue Tool. The first one he made weighed 350 pounds, which is 160 kilos, which
seems too heavy.
A little bit too heavy, yeah. You'd have to have a couple of fellas holding that one. But then he got together with this bloke called Mike Brick, who could do a bit of engineering, but also was good at marketing. And Mike worked on it and got it down to 30 kilos. So now, that is the one that Raymond's got
here. Yeah.
And then they decided to give away the patent to everyone for free. Oh. So they started selling them, but they said anybody else can also. Yeah, we've patented this, but you don't have to pay any royalties because this is a clear life-saving thing. So as many of these should be made as.
That's lovely. Yeah.
So then Mike Brick was the person that came up with the idea of calling it the jaws of life. So that was actually a trademark, but that's become generalised like sellotape or jacuzzi. So that was launched in the US in 1971. And it only came to Europe in 1972. So this actually definitely will be the first time it's ever seen in the UK, because they only just started marketing them in Europe this year. So that I presume they've come over to Europe and gone, right, where can we, where's the best place who are the best people to show this thing to? Oh, Raymond, let's show it to Raymond first and then get the ball rolling. Because Raymond even mentions in this that they have shown it to the fire brigade, doesn't he?
Yeah, which is so odd. Because that would have been a better segment whereby, he talked about last week, they went to the fire brigade, they showed it off to them, and the fire brigade were like, oh yeah, it looks pretty good. It's like, so the fire brigade had no idea of this. That's your segment. I don't really do your job for you, but that's your segment. Like the experts being wowed by it and them using it and them seeing how it works and then discussing how, oh God, yeah, this could save lives. That would have been so much more. Not that this wasn't a bad piece. This is a perfectly good segment. It's more like, but what you did last week, you should have just brought a camera with you. You're making TV show.
Yeah. Although, as we know, Mark, whenever Tomorrow's World gets a fireman involved, he turns out to be accomplice to a murder.
Yeah, I know. They're untrusty swines, right?
Exactly, yeah.
He wasn't a murderer.
No, he was accomplice, wasn't he? Or
he was on holiday when his wife was. Yeah, he was on holiday with his wife. Because again, we've told this story twice because he turned up twice.
Yeah. It would be funny if he turned up this early as like a teenager.
We watched a documentary about it. It was his mistress and her weird best friend.
Yeah, but actually what the case is, so the one that they're using here is a spreader.
Yeah.
They also, using the same technology, have one that's a cutter.
Yeah.
And then there's another one that's called like a ram, which is kind of like the spreader, but for getting into gaps. You put it into a gap and then get it going, and it will like prise bits apart.
Right.
You can't get your arm in or sort of things like that. So there's three different types that are available. You can get certain ones that are 3-in-1, but obviously you've got compromises there rather than having 3.
Do you want to compromise with a life?
Exactly. So if you're a fire brigade, you want to buy each one of each type, and these days it will probably cost you around 30 grand to get all 3. But they are now battery powered, so you don't. So I presume they're not nearly as noisy as this one.
You'd hate to be the person who forgot to charge the battery.
Yeah, you would, wouldn't you?
Mea culpa. Oh, sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Won't happen again.
It's only just bleeding out in a car while you're just trying to find
we've all done it.
trying to find a USB lead.
Just trying to plug it into the the cigarette lighter.
Yeah. But I mean, they are super powerful. So the spreader, I know. Obviously, I initially found this unquantifiable until I found somebody who quantified it. The spreader has up to 58,000 pounds of spreading force, and then the cutter has 120,000 pounds of cutting force.
Right.
So that means that the spreader could lift 10 elephants off the ground.
Wow.
And the cutter could cut through a solid steel beam of 6 inches thick.
That seems impressive.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, bloody hell.
So no wonder it's making short work of this Ford Anglia with paper-thin steel frame. Yeah.
It's another one of these segments that you watched in the 70s, and like it's amazing anyone survived the 70s at all. Because even at the beginning, I think Baxter says we're all too sadly familiar with sites like these, the results of multiple pile-up in the motorways. It's just like, are the audience that watching it, is everyone genuinely seeing this on the regs? It's like, apparently so. Apparently the 70s were just a potential death trap.
I'll tell you what, Mark, you ever drive on the Autobahn, you do. I think every single time I've ever driven on the Autobahn, I have driven past some sort of absolutely horrific looking car accident.
I'm assuming you've driven past it at 120 kilometers an hour.
Of course,
there.
Yeah,
natch. Yeah. It's difficult to rub a neck at that speed, isn't it?
They just try to take a few snaps and then just look at them while I'm driving. So Jaws, wonderful,
Brilliant. Yeah, I loved it.
Well, now, we've seen one film this evening light-heartedly connected with the activities of those who operate beyond the law. But now, here's a film James Burke's made on a serious problem that could become tomorrow's crime.
A few years from now, the really big-time criminal, I mean the man who keeps himself in the super tax bracket all the year round every year, will no longer be the man with the big foreign car, the yacht in the south of France, the jet-set image. He'll be much more like the bloke in my rearview mirror. His name's Guy Parker, and he's not a criminal. He's a computer security expert, and he's on his way to reconstruct the crime of the future. He's going to show you how he stole £34,563.28p. This is the company he's going to. It could be any company, anywhere. It could be the one you work for. He actually did the job a few weeks ago, and nobody here knew except the company directors who let him try it for tomorrow's world. But as you watch Guy Parker at work, remember he claims a real crook could do just as well without anybody's permission. Stage 1, get into the building. The easiest way? Look respectable, walk through the front door, and play on most people's trust.
Good morning. I've got an appointment with Mr. Andrews.
Oh, yes.
Before I go and see him, I need a packet of cigarettes. Can I get any?
Yes, certainly. Just round there in the canteen.
Thank you.
Stage 2, say you're doing a survey. Many companies are too big for individuals to know you're not. Then get hold of a computer printout of other firms this company normally does business with. Stage 3, find a firm on that list with whom no transactions have taken place for a few months. Ring them to make sure.
Accounts department.
The firm you talk to exists in the computer's memory as an account number. The aim of this telephone call is to make sure they haven't sent any bills recently and aren't therefore expecting any money. If they're not, you can manipulate their computer account number without fear of reaction.
There won't be any. Fine. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Stage 4. Persuade the computer to transfer that account number to your own bogus company. That involves paperwork, so find a paper.
I want the stationery cupboard. Is that where it is?
It's over there.
In the stationery cupboard will be two vital forms. One's called an amendment form. The other is a slip that shows company authorization to pay a bill. Now, most companies using a computer follow laid-down procedures, so the forms are easy to recognize. This is the crucial stage, and the way to play it is to make sure nobody notices you. In most offices, if everybody's working hard, they're much too busy to notice you anyway. Stage 5. Take the amendment form, fill in the account number you got from the computer, and beside it, the name of your bogus company. Name changing like this happens all the time, when businesses merge, for instance. That's what amendment forms are for. Stage 6. Get the bogus amendment into the computer.
Amendments?
Simply drop it into the tray where all paperwork going into the computer is placed. There may be several collecting points like this in a very big company, and the more there are, the easier it is. And the girl who picks it all up isn't paid to ask questions. She merely takes everything into the punch card room. It's here that all the data, including yours, is turned into computer language, a series of holes on a card. Detection of your bogus data at this point is virtually impossible. Minutes later, the computer is activated to receive the hundreds of cards in this batch. When it's finished, stage 6 of your plan is complete. The computer now regards that original account number as rightfully yours. Anything it's told to do for the number, it'll do for you. Stage 7, find somewhere quiet. This next bit takes a while and should be carried out unobserved. Take out a number of specially printed fake bills carrying the letterhead of your bogus company. Each one bears details of fictitious consignment of goods and the total due in payment. To each, you have now attached one of the payment authorization slips you got from the stationery cupboard, suitably filled in with a computer account number and some scribbled fake initials. Get these bills to the computer and you're home and dry.
2, 5.
Stage 8. Find a pile of similar bills, but real ones.
I just want to check something.
This is another collection point for paperwork going to the computer. Again, acting the part of someone doing a check, take out the same number of real bills and their attached payment authorizations as the bogus ones you've prepared. Switch them. That way, if there's a spot check by the accounts department, the numbers will tally.
Thank you.
Once again, the system helps you. The bills and the orders to pay go into the punch card room.
Can I have these done first, Pat? We're waiting for work. Okay, Alan.
Each hole in this punch card could be worth £1 or £1,000. Stage 8 is completed as the cards go to the computer. It's already got a perfectly official change of name in its memory for the original account number. Your demands for money on that account number will now cause no problems at all. Stage 9. Some companies have a final cross-check system. They ask for a periodic overall total bill from their suppliers. So, 2 days before you walk into the building, send them one in the post. When a clerk cross-checks the dozens of computer printouts saying, pay so many bills totaling so much, yours will tally just like everybody else's. So, the moment of truth. The checks are typed. The size of the check you will get away with depends on knowing what amount will pass scrutiny without question, and that depends on the size of the company you've taken on. Well, that's how he did it. As he leaves the building and gets into his car, having once more proved his point, here's how Guy Parker says you can stop it happening to you.
Oh, yes.
Before I go and see him, I need a packet of cigarettes. Can I get any?
This certainly.
Don't make it easy to get past the receptionist.
There won't be any. Fine. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
He can't phone the outside firm and use their account number if he can't get hold of the computer list of names. Don't leave it around.
I I want the stationery cupboard. Can you tell me where it is?
It's over there.
Thank you.
Paper's worthless until it's written on. Protect it.
Amendments.
Open collecting points for documents invite trouble. Don't. Only an expert knows what's on this card. Don't let the crook get this far.
Oh, I just want to check something.
Double check on anybody who does anything out of the ordinary. Protect your computer most of all. It trusts everybody. Well, there he goes, and if he were a crook, he'd be off scot-free, because he's got no money on him. Nobody knows he's done what he's done except the computer, and it won't tell unless it's asked the right kind of questions. He could as easily have put himself on the payroll, the pensions list, or got goods instead of money. And he warns that there are people already beginning to commit this kind of crime in England. Now, if you think all this is a bit far-fetched, you should know that Guy Parker has already persuaded people's computers to part with no less than £3.5 million. Now, he's torn up the cheques, of course, as we will with this. Because, to add insult to injury, not only did he get hold of £34,563 and 28p, but he had it made out to us. It was signed because a computer said so. It was sent to us because a computer said so. If we went to our bank, we would have it cashed because their computer would check with the original computer. It's as easy as that. So be warned. Oh, yes.
£34,563 and 28 pence, Mark. I'm sure the first thing you want to know is actually how much is that these days?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Weirdly, the Bank of England and the Office of National Statistics, their inflation calculators differ quite substantially on this.
Okay.
The Bank of England reckons today it'll be £410,225, and the ONS reckon it'll be £663,504.
Wow.
So
It's quite a big difference.
it's a big old difference, but either way, it's about £500,000
Yeah.
which is not
That's a
bad.
lot of money.
It's a lot of money, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
For only a lot of hard work.
Yeah. And it's about the amount that Burke should be charged for littering, Mark.
Oh, yeah. Now you know why I asked you to put a pin in that statement, didn't I?
Started the episode praising Burke and saying how much I liked the man. And he's very much, I mean, he's blotted his copybook there with that
Whither your God now, Cope.
tossing of the checkbook, torn up check on the floor.
He tears it up and he drives off like he hasn't just committed a heinous crime.
Yeah. I hate littering. I hate littering
I know,
so much.
It's dreadful. Yeah.
It's like, honestly, if there were just squads of people with sniper rifles just taking out people who litter, it would not bother me in the slightest, Mark.
Shocking. It's shocking. He giggles about it. He giggles like a little
And of course, I mean,
schoolgirl.
Burke himself, a sniper's dream with that cranium on there. He's obviously, as we've spoken about before,
That's one of the great rags.
the largest-headed Tomorrow's World presenter of all time.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I'm sure he went back and picked it up after that, Mark. I'm sure that was just for the cameras.
Russ.
Just for the cameras.
Of course.
I know we complain about pieces being long, and this piece is probably like half the length of the entire episode of the programme.
It's about 10 minutes.
However, I think Burke does such a good job because it's kind of, because obviously he then went on to do the programme Connections, which is and it's kind of, it plays into that style that he can do, where he propels the story along and shows how one thing connects to the next thing, which connects to the next thing, which connects to the next thing, and you're watching it, and he's sort of portraying.
It feels propulsive.
Yes, it's propulsive.
It's got momentum. It does not outstay its welcome.
No. You're basically watching a heist. And
if I'm bored of it, it's only because I've seen it a few times now. But the first time I sat down and watched it, it was thrilling.
Yeah, everyone loves a heist.
Yeah, everyone loves a heist.
Yeah. And it seems like if you were prepared to put the effort in, they were quite easy in 1972.
Bloody hell!
Just ask where the fag machine is, and you're away.
Oh, and the stationery cupboard, and because apparently everything is kept. security is only there to prevent unauthorized access to cigarettes, and then everything's just kept in the stationery cupboard, and then you're laughing.
Yeah.
It's astonishing. Just that opening. Can I just because I wrote it down, I spent a lot of time doing. I'm just going to go through the 10 stages.
Oh yeah,
we're only told 9, but yeah. So stage 1. So just because people might have switched off, or so stage 1. So write this down.
It's a shame we can't put some. Oh, maybe I'll try. I don't know. We'll see. It puts some sort of Ocean's 11 style music over the bottom of this.
Oh, you're asking a lot of yourself, but I think you should give it a go. So stage 1, get into the building, and so that is obviously where the fag machine comes into play, because apparently every staff canteen has one, and anyone is allowed access to it. So that is a boon for the heist driver, the driver of the heist rather. Stage 2, say you're doing a survey. Many companies are too big for individuals to know you're not. Then get a hold of a computer printout of other firms this company normally does business. So that's brilliant, right? That's great. You're doing a survey. Yeah. You're not you don't have to come up with a survey that you're doing. You just need to do one, and people automatically assume, oh, he's here for the survey. Yep. And then the other part of this stage 2, it's really a 3-stage. This is really a 2-stage.
I'd probably actually get a hold. I'd say I was doing an audit rather than a survey, Mark.
Well, we did not call ourselves tomorrow World Survey Time. Yes, exactly. You're part of the audit team. Yeah. And actually, the thing is, you're part of a team. You're not an individual, because people don't suspect individuals if they look like they're lost, if they're supposed to be going off. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to give tips here how to pull this off smarter. Then get a hold of a computer printout of other firms this company normally does business with. Now, I would posit that this is much more difficult than just saying that sentence out loud implies it is. That that is not information that is lying around. That is something you're going to have to specifically request, and we don't see him do this. Now, let me just cover this by saying he has supposedly already done this with the understanding of the managers who said, yeah, go on then, give it a go, see what happens. He is claiming he did this successfully. Was it last week? Which is why he has to check. Yeah, recently enough. So he did all this. So he was procured. I'm just going to posit that I think that's slightly more difficult than it is. Anyway, that's stage 2. Stage 3.
Maybe, but I suppose you've got to leave some aspects to mystery. Otherwise, somebody would directly copy it.
Otherwise, yeah, exactly. Stage 3, find a firm on that list with whom no transactions have taken place in the last few months. Ring them to make sure. So now you're not just looking for a list of companies the business transacts with, but on that list, you're also expecting to see some kind of indication of the regularity or the frequency or the most recent transaction that company has made with that business. That business has made with the companies, which already feels like this is going to be quite an unwieldy spreadsheet. But anyway, this is stage 4. Persuade the company to transfer. Oh, sorry, forgive me. Stage 3 has another part, which is you're supposed to ring the company that has not transacted with the business recently to make sure they aren't expecting something. I assume there you're ringing up as the business saying, "Hi, I'm from business. Are you expecting something from us?" No, we're not. That's great. So that's fine. That makes sense. But stage 4, persuade the computer to transfer the account number to your own bogus company. This involves paperwork, so find the paper. And this is where we have that lovely moment where he just kind of barrels into an office and just demands to be shown to the stationery cupboard, which the gentleman obligingly or dismissively points to at the back of the room. And then he opens up the stationery cupboard. And for me, the stationery cupboard I have at work is full of stationery and tea bags. Yeah, I work in local government. Tea bags and stationery. This one is like, I don't know, it's like, it's full of everything you need to disable the company from the inside out. It is, yeah. Stage 5. Take the amendment form. We're assuming the amendment form's in there. Take the amendment form. Fill in the account number you got from the computer, and beside it, the name of your bogus company. Okay, so you see. Okay, that's fair enough. So you got. So we're assuming the amendment form's there. We're pulling it out, and again, we're assuming these are all labelled, and they're not all. And you're not having to rifle through to look for one. Anyway, so okay, that pulls it out. Fill in the name. Yeah, absolutely. Get the bogus amendment into the computer, says Burke. This is stage 6. What I like about this is that this is the second time he then just sidles up to somebody and then just demands. He just says amendment.
He just bellows amendment in that 4 seconds.
Amendment. He screams at a worker, or rather girl, because we're told because we are informed the girl who picks it all up is not paid to ask questions. She basically just points to a tray in front of him. So he has to have known which girl, like he's not just walking up to a random girl and saying amendment and she just points in the tray. Like, so anyway, okay, that's fine. What I'm saying is that, there's a lot of stages of this, but I suspect there are more that we aren't aware of, which is weird because it does feel like they tell you everything. Stage 7, find somewhere quiet. Amusingly, he heads to the toilet. So you find somewhere quiet. You then take out a number of specially printed fake bills carrying the letterhead of your fake company. To each, you have attached a payment authorization slip you got from the stationery cupboard. So at stage 4, you have to have also removed the payment authorizations, which are also in there next to the amendment.
If I was at the stationery cupboard, I'd just take one of each piece of paper.
I don't disagree with you, Russ. You're going to be in that loo a long time, so you might as well bring reading material. But you also have to have already pre-prepared some fake bills for your fake company. So you got a bit of homework, guys. You got a little bit of homework you have to do in advance. Okay, that's fine. So then, and you fill it in. Then you find, stage 8, find a pile of similar bills, but real ones. So somewhere in this building, probably near the amendment girl you've already bellowed at, there's another girl who has in front of her real bills that you've already pre-scoped out.
That you've got
and then he just says, and then he says to her, "I'm just going to check something," which I thought was brilliant. And then he just suspiciously removes a suspicious number of the papers suspiciously from the pile, and then replaces them with a fistful of paper he brought with him from the loo. And then he walks up, having quote unquote just checked them. And then stage 9, some companies have a final cross-check system. They ask for a periodic overall total bill from their suppliers. So 2 days before you walk into the building, send them one in the post. So again, there's a little bit more homework that probably wasn't necessarily known to you when he just immediately turns up looking for cigarettes from the canteen. And I suggested 2 days out. You probably want to send them out maybe 4 days because it takes time to go through a system. They're not going to immediately open anyway. And then stage 10, profit, obviously. At some point, your check is going to be printed.
Size and profit, Mark. It's a lot of steps.
It's mad. It's absolutely bonkers. It's a lot of steps, some of which are multi-step stages.
But in terms of, pounds per hour, it's nice
worth
to learn.
It, right?
It's
half
a nice
a million.
learner.
Yeah. So he's claimed to have
3.5 million overall.
Liberated 3.5. Was it 3.5 million?
Yeah. So if we scale that up, because that's actually quite easy to scale up.
50 million?
Because it's 34,500 is 500,000.
Yeah. So it's 50 million.
Yeah.
Give or take. 50 million he's liberated from companies and given back. Now, you made an observation.
Yeah.
Which is that our guy is wandering around. Now, I looked and I zoomed. I know a little bit about watches. I couldn't recognize it, but it is definitely a gold watch on what looks like a solid gold Milanese bracelet, which would have been a pretty penny.
Yeah, it's a fair old chunk of watch, that, isn't it, that he's got on his wrist.
Yeah,
and I mean, this is back in the, you couldn't buy cheapo Chinese knockoff watches back then.
No. It wasn't instantly recognizable to me. It was a kind of a cushion case watch and a Milanese strap, and it did look like gold because it wasn't tacky. It was kind of sophisticated. It was clearly solid gold watch. So I'm maybe not every check made it into the list of it. Guy, or maybe he had to try it out for himself before he could then earn money legitimately by telling people how not to allow these things to happen.
Yeah, but it always amazes me how anything on paper-based systems was not rife with fraud at all times back there. Like I've probably said this before on here. I've never understood how credit cards ever got off the ground before their credit card readers were connected to the internet. How were there not just loads of people walking around with fake credit cards? Because those shunk.
Yeah.
All they did was take a carbon copy of the card. It could have anything written on it. And before it was ever checked, you wouldn't no longer be in the shop.
No, week could pass by the time the bank finally kind of get to charging your card. Yeah. No, it's absolutely correct. I still don't know. I mean, that system, when you go to America, like you go to the States and you just fill in a piece of paper and you walk out the building. It still boggles my mind. Like it kind of upsets my head. There was the last time we went, which was 22. When was Liz Truss Prime Minister? Was that 22? We would give them our card, and they'd stick it on there. And this is sometimes they wouldn't. They'd bring a machine over, or more likely they just take it away. And the thing is, not once but at least twice, they nearly locked me out of my card because I could see them struggling because it was asking for a PIN number.
Yeah.
And they were just going 0000. And luckily, Josie saw them once, and I had to rush over and say, no, is it asking for a PIN number? Like, yeah. It's like, it wants my PIN number. Like, I'm not American. I'm from Europe.
Yeah.
We use the PIN system. And and I said, how many times have you done it? Twice. So you're about to do it a third time. And they're like, so I entered my PIN. I said, look.
They just assume it's like TV, sort of TVs and stuff are always 00000. They say, oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, obviously a default password, right? I said, yeah, so please. And I did say that if somebody is not American, just double check with them, because America's the only country that apparently doesn't take security seriously at all.
Yeah. Presumably if Guy went to an American office to pull off this crime, maybe he wanted to like rob Hearst Performance for all their gear stick money, he probably only taken maybe 3 stages rather than 10. Because you could have just gone.
There's no system there.
Yeah,
right?
Where's your cigarette machine? And then walked over to an open safe and just filled the bag with money.
I'm assuming they keep the computer outside next to the pool because it needs to get the sun on it. Actually, you have reminded me, kind of thinking of America. Is like I'm thinking of this is like what I do like about this approach is that it really. I think they constantly are referring to like the bigger the company, the busier it is, like the less likely you are. It's like it so totally overestimates the productivity of the 1970s worker and completely underestimates how nosy people are in offices.
Yeah. I would say the way you would do it in a modern office is you wear the cloak of invisibility that is a high vis and a hard hat.
Of course.
But then the problem is, if you're wearing a high vis and a hard hat and you ask where the stationery cupboard is, or you start fiddling around with piles of bills on the desk, you can't do that.
Just checking.
You can't do that.
Amendment.
You have to be dressed as a worker.
Can you tell me where the stationery cupboard is? Absolutely. But then equally, I mean, where I work, even my office that I'm in is behind a locked door that has only a few people can get into. Yeah. And that in itself is in a corridor behind a lock, an electric lock that only, blah, 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 and so on and so forth. It's like these days, access is not predicated on whether you do or do not smoke cigarettes.
But I mean, that is the weak point, though, isn't it? I mean, my office now only has like 10 people in it, so I would definitely recognise if it wasn't anybody I work with.
Yeah.
But in my old office in London, there are thousands of people in the building, and I think everyone would rely on the fact that security was good enough that anybody inside the building was meant to be in there. So I would not have batted an eyelid at anybody doing anything in there, really.
No.
So you can see how basically the receptionist is the
well, that's the first thing of how not to prevent this crime. Don't make it easy to pass the receptionist. Which is absolutely true. Which is like that's why you wear ID badges.
Yeah, or keep the cigarette machine. Yeah, keep the cigarette machine out front.
Or staff only.
But you got to have your cigarettes, though, Mark. Haven't you? You got to have your cigarettes.
I know, and you did rightly point out, Russ. This whole segment is littered with absolutely over in your face smoking.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was because they were doing quite an interesting
artistic
filming style, because what they were trying to portray the busy office, but also the fact that he was passing through undetected and all that. So they have like a lot of like shots where he's like the camera's down low and he's looking across a desk and like people's hands would move in front of the camera out of focus and things like that. And there's 2 very good shots, or just very high close-ups of somebody's hand holding a cigarette right in the camera like that.
Absolutely out of focus. And in the background there's the head of somebody busy working, and Guy just passes through the middle. It's very verite, isn't it? It's rather gorgeous as well, actually. The mise-en-scène, Russ, of this particular
one of the ladies in the office is clearly very suspicious of him, though, because she keeps her eyes on him for ages, doesn't she? Even though this is a reconstruction,
absolutely,
she's still suspicious.
Yeah. Do you think she was thinking like, I saw you here last week, I know what you did. I knew that. I knew in my bones. She looks like a proper busybody. Yeah. She would have absolutely clocked him last week. Yeah. Oh, you're that stationery thief.
I mean, my mum actually, funnily enough, in the 60s, she worked in a place, because what they have banks of women typing out these computer punch cards. And my mum had a very similar job, but they used to also have rolls of computer tape that also had punch holes in, and she used to type those up and then carry them to a big computer in Boreham Wood. But she would definitely have been suspicious of anybody walking. I mean, she would have spotted anybody immediately.
She barely trusts you.
Yeah. what's quite good about this segment as well is that the BBC Archive themselves posted this very segment on YouTube 3 years ago. And so I was able to gauge the reactions of the, well, not just the great British public, the world's public, on what were the things that stood out to everyone about this segment, Mark, by looking at the comments.
Yeah.
And I was very pleased that at least 50% of the comments underneath were people having a go at Burke for littering, which I thought was very good.
That is good. That's reassuring.
Yeah, including one person who just put the word litterbug, which the BBC Archive account themselves had replied then with the next 3 lines from Wham's Wake Me Up Before You Go Go. So it said, litterbug, you put the boom boom into my heart, which I thought was very good. Then next, I say 30% of the comments were people either marvelling or commenting on the fact that you could buy fags at work.
Yeah.
What a world and things like that. Then there was like...
Look what they took from us.
About 10% of them were people saying, this is ridiculous. If somebody came into my office, I would immediately spot them. And then they would all invariably somebody replying to them going, I don't know anybody in my office. Anybody could walk in. I wouldn't care. So it's like, depends on your personal experience, really, that and how much you care about your job.
Exactly.
I would say another 10% of people commenting on Guy's car, because Hillman Avenger, and saying how crap it was, and that he wouldn't be able to make it away from the office because it would have broken down in the driveway.
Nerds.
There was one person who just could not get over the fact that Burke kept referring to everybody in the abstract he. So, this person did not understand that was the
vernacular.
The vernacular back then.
Common vernacular.
And they're going, but women commit crimes too. This Burke guy is weird. And you just think, wow, you just have no understanding of anything if you think that the whole... But then I also thought the way they were phrasing it was not like, oh, this person, Burke's being sexist. It was more like this segment is anti-men rather than it being... society.
They clearly missed his actual sexism that he employs legitimately in the middle of the segment. Yeah.
But the one useful comment, Mark.
Oh, okay.
Was for somebody who said, this was only posted 7 months ago.
Oh.
And they said,
fresh.
This is my grandfather, Gabe, brackets, Guy. It was his funeral today, 88 years old. So.
Wow.
Turns out that this bloke isn't called Guy at all. This is a classic Tomorrow's World thing of calling him by his name that is not his name. His name's Gabe. Gabe Parker. Oh, and somebody also commented to that comment saying, so he was telling lies about you needed those cigarettes. Obviously because he lived to 88.
Yeah.
So then I could search for Gabe Parker, and I found a very interesting... It turns out that... You remember the Radio 4 programme Home Truths with John Peel?
Yeah, John Peel. Yeah, he's listened to it all the time.
All the members of the public would talk about extraordinary things that happened to them. I found this very old article from the Radio 4 website about Gabe Parker. So I think it covers, everything we need to know about him. So I'll just read it out here. It's titled "The Most Dangerous Man in Britain." Ooh. In the late 60s, Gabe Parker allowed his mind to wander from the job in hand, which was chasing up computer components for the firm Elliott Automation. He realised that very little thought had been given to the problems of computer sabotage. I was surprised about this, so I put my crooked hat on and thought, there's possibilities here, just for the fun of it. At some point, Gabe thinks he must have mentioned it to the firm's public relations people about the awful possibilities of computer fraud. The next thing he knew, he was on the Today programme talking to Jack DeManio about breaking into computers, shifting money around, and no one any the wiser. The spotlight of fame, or infamy, shone bright on Gabe. One appearance led to others, most notably on Tomorrow's World. In front of amazed presenter James Burke, Gabe demonstrated the relative simplicity of shifting 35 grand from one account to another and then to get the computer to issue a cheque for that amount. I was never prepared for this or such a reaction from the BBC. You only read about the BBC in the Radio Times, and here they were ringing up for opinions and to appear on radio programmes and then television. Asked if he felt if he was qualified to talk about such a subject, Gabe answers, only in the sense that there was no one else thinking about this, let alone talking about it. There was no one really to question what I was saying. Everything I said was accepted. Still, the ball of fame continued to roll. Gabe took part in a programme called The Burke Special, in which he was shown illegally gaining access, this was before the word hacking was used, to the Inland Revenue computer. The following day, there were questions in the House of Commons. Jeremy Thorpe asked the question, What if Gabe Parker was walking down Whitehall with the means of getting into anybody's computer? Is he the most dangerous man in Britain? This brought Gabe up short. Several decades later, Gabe still sounds appalled at the title. I thought, who are they talking about? To be labelled the most dangerous man in Britain is getting way out of hand. But still, Gabe continued to move in more and more exalted company on both sides of the Atlantic until he says, I became scared. I was in charge or control of my 15 minutes of fame. At this time, Gabe was also diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, spending a short time in a wheelchair. I felt this was a warning that what I was doing to my mind and body wasn't on. He took a hard look at what was important to him in life and withdrew from the media spotlight. So, interestingly, multiple sclerosis mentioned there, Mark. Another connection to previous episodes.
To last week, the last episode, yeah.
But yeah, very interestingly, so it's basically Gabe is essentially sort of came up with this whole idea, or was the first person to think up what was going on here, and ended up having questions asked in Parliament about him. So, yeah. And
by somebody who is credibly accused of murder as well.
yeah. Definitely a conspiracy for dog murder as well, wasn't it? Hugh Grant played him, didn't he? The Very British Scandal. That was good, that. I found an article on the Harvard
That's unusual.
Harvard University's
Harvard
website. It was a brief history of computer crime and computer hacking and things like that. And this very segment is mentioned very early on in it, saying that it's effectively one of the first ever instances of somebody considering computer crime and the idea of this kind of fraud being a problem. Which, of course, it is now, Mark. It is.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is very prophetic.
It's known as social engineering fraud these days.
Yeah,
of course, because the idea is that you can make a system as impenetrable as you like. You can have the highest technology you like,
but the weak link password and
the weak link is always the human.
Yeah,
it's always the human. And it's the main kind of fraud now. Phishing is a type of social engineering fraud. It's basically doing what Gabe was doing here, but via email and from the comfort of your own home, really. So yeah, it's a very prophetic piece. I'd looked up some, how much of this sort of cyber crime, as they call it, is going on, Mark. Is cyber crime the last thing that they still use the word cyber for? Because everything used to be cyber, didn't it?
It did. Cyber zone.
Yeah. I think I still only hear cyber crime now. The cost of cyber crime this year is expected to top $12 trillion.
I'm not shocked.
Which is the equivalent
that is quite a lot.
Which is the equivalent of the total GDP of Cyprus every single day. That's amazing, isn't it?
I mean, to be fair, my previous employers, we were the victims of a cyber attack, to use cyber again, and it cost 15 million pounds to deal with, and that was not that wasn't even paying any ransoming. That was just dealing with the destruction that it caused. Yeah. Yeah. And I think if memory says I don't want to speak out of turn, but I let's just put it this way: my understanding was that the reason it happened was through social engineering.
Yeah, I mean, and that is what's happened. The other interesting statistic of all the money stolen by fraudsters through the various cyber crimes, only 2% of it is recovered by law enforcement.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That doesn't seem quite enough, really, does it?
Yeah, and I doubt they're ripping up those checks they're receiving, are they?
Oh, no, I hadn't even thought about that. Oh, we should probably stop sending them checks.
But, it is. Weirdly, what's happened is that the prevalence of social engineering fraud went down. Like when computers were less advanced, people would just try and hack into computers directly.
War game style. Yeah.
Now technology has got so good that you can keep hackers out pretty easily. Everything's pretty secure. The social engineering aspect has come back in, and it's with a vengeance. So actually, So this piece is more sort of relevant than ever. Even though in this piece he only uses pieces of paper and a telephone, it is still exactly the same principle.
No, it's great. It's really good. I have to say it's really fascinating to learn that actually this is seen as like an important moment in the reporting of computer crime. Yeah. Fair play to Gabe. What is it with Tomorrow's World and then misnaming people?
I don't know.
They spent a whole day with this guy. And I assume they kept on calling him Guy, and under his breath, because it's gay. Sorry, it's actually Gabe. And they just ignored him every time he said it. Incredible.
Maybe he wanted to be kept anonymous.
Guy's a nom
and
de
he
plume?
introduced himself as Guy Incognito.
A nom de guerre, right?
Guy
Yeah.
Incognito, like Homer did once.
Yeah. I feel a social responsibility just to remind people of the important tips to prevent this kind of illegal activity. So I would feel guilty walking away, not making sure that all our listeners were, to be forewarned is to be forearmed.
And this bit was very public information film, wasn't it, when they showed it with the freeze frames?
It was. Yes, it was. Yes, absolutely. Don't make it easy to pass the receptionist.
Right.
Don't leave the list of company names hanging around. Protect your paper. Don't have open collection points for paperwork. Don't let the crook get as far as the production of cards for the computer. Double check on anyone who does anything out of the ordinary. Protect your computer most of all. I did like Burke's line of it trusts everybody, which I thought was quite sweet. Yeah. But just follow those don'ts and you'll be fine.
Right.
And don't smoke.
I wonder if, because obviously after you secured that packet of cigarettes, do you think he had to at least smoke one to make sure? That's what you should do. The receptionist should.
That's why
the receptionist should make to get him to
Yeah.
smoke one on
Go
the
on.
Spot.
Smoke that whole pack.
Smoke the whole pack before you're even allowed in the office.
Yeah. He ran off to the loo to vomit, didn't he? Not to fill in the paperwork.
Right. Well, I mean, amazingly, we're on the last piece of the show already, Mark. Let's see what. I mean, we've had two.
Let's hope
we've
they
two
plant the landing,
absolute
Russ.
incredible revelations this episode. So I'm sure. Should we go for the hat trick?
Oh my God.
That really broke my heart. Anyway, here's Michael Rodd.
In that glorious weather last week, many people's fancies must have turned to deck chairs, only to discover that the garden shed had failed to protect the woodwork and the canvas from the ravages of winter. Well, here's a chair that you can leave out in the garden through the most bitter blizzard, and which will be ready for you to relax in just as soon as the sun shines. No warping wood, no splitting canvas. An epoxy resin-coated tubular steel frame and a moulded polypropylene seat means this garden chair won't collapse the moment you settle down into it. These notches here allow the chair to be set upright or in a more somnolent posture, and the seat itself is, the maker's claim, almost indestructible. When you're not sitting in it, the children can use it as a toboggan or even a surfboard. Now, the chairs stack quite easily, and these slots here allow any rainwater to drain off quickly, useful feature in our uncertain climate. So, when the sun does shine, you can relax into one of these things with certainty. It makes a pleasant change from watching television.
Thank you, Michael. Talking of summer sunshine, it's only a month since I was enjoying the heat of a real summer in Australia, 108 degrees, or 43 if you prefer, up in the wilderness of the outback, for instance. We were there chasing wild emu in order to ring them. And a very exciting pursuit it is in every sense of the word. In Melbourne, we looked at some important new work in the fight against cancer, a far cry perhaps from the famous Australian Flying Doctor Service. But off the Great Barrier Reef, Tomorrow's World cameras filmed underwater to report from what must be the most beautiful laboratory in the world for wildlife studies. And we also report on the Australian mineral boom from the fabulous Tom Price iron mine. All this in Tomorrow's World next week, back at our normal later time of 7 minutes. Until then, have a good Easter and good night.
I think this must be the earliest Michael Rodd we've ever seen, isn't it?
I think so. And he's very much sat at the children's table, isn't he?
They give him the hard-hitting assignment of showing us a piece of plastic garden furniture.
Yeah, and his way of acting out is to use as many highfalutin words as he possibly can in the 1.5 minutes they give him.
Somnambulant posture was my favourite phrase.
Yeah.
Which,
to be fair, is a lovely phrase.
yeah.
But it is just a plastic chair.
Yes. It's one of those things which is so commonplace and ubiquitous to us. The idea that plastic garden furniture was ever a new invention is quite hard to get your head around, isn't it, really?
In fact, Russell, I refuse to believe that this is new. My assumption is that it's not that it's plastic furniture, plastic outdoor furniture, or even plastic furniture, is that it's specifically, it's it's plastic deck chair.
Yes,
Yes, absolutely. But even that, it's like this is weak sauce.
Yeah, he says it could also be used as a toboggan or a surfboard.
Thank you. There is no way in God's green earth that's a surfboard.
Toboggan, fair enough. You can use any old thing as a toboggan as long as it's got a smooth under.
Yeah.
Surfboard. Has he ever seen a surfboard?
He's read about it. He's never seen one.
An L-shaped piece of plastic with holes in it is not going to...
With holes in, to let the water run through it. I mean, that's the clue, Michael. You then explain how the water can run through it. Unbelievable.
So obviously we don't have a huge amount to say about this, but I was determined to wring something out of this. So I thought I'd expand the scope of my search and just find out about plastic garden furniture.
Yep. Okay. I can't wait.
Genuinely quite interesting, Mark. Genuinely quite interesting. Because we see what I'm talking about, the classic white plastic chair that you see, ubiquitous the world over.
Yeah, yeah.
I always associate it with English football hooligans hurling it at continental policemen in town squares.
Yeah. In Copenhagen.
Now, what's interesting about this? Someone must have designed the first one. No one really knows who it was. There's speculation that there's a couple of different Italian designers that they think it might have been. They're pretty sure that the first company to put it into mass production was a French company. So there's all these various Europeans involved. But the interesting thing is that nobody, for the second interesting patent thing this episode, nobody ever patented the design of this chair, either the design of the chair or the production process of it. It's called the monoblock chair. Monoblock with the K missing at the end because it's French. Because it's made from injection molding, all in one piece. So you just go squirt it into mold, bosh, your chair comes out. But because nobody ever patented it, that is why it has become so incredibly ubiquitous, because anybody can just set up a factory making them. And in today's prices, it costs about $3.50 to make one. They've essentially, it's one of those things, and then you start thinking about it, go, they are everywhere, aren't they? And it's like the paper clip or the disposable cigarette lighter, AK-47, all those sorts of things. Like, they're things that are perfectly designed for what they are and have just basically taken over the whole world, but you just don't really think about them. And now that the monoblock chair is that. I found a comment by the director of civic media studies at MIT, Ethan Zuckerman, and he said, virtually every object suggests a time and place. The monoblock chair is one of the few objects I could think of which is free of any specific context. Seeing a white plastic chair in a photograph offers you no clues about where or when you are. And I thought,
Oh, yeah, that's a good,
It is one of the things that truly unites mankind, Mark.
Yeah. Funny enough, the closest I can think of to it in terms of especially like being out of time is like, it always blows my mind when you find out that like the biro, the biro is close to 100 years old and it's still around, and if you pick one up, most people are very happy to use it and that's all they've ever used and stuff like that. Yeah, I suppose, I like that idea of it being out of time and just being...
Imagine how many you've sat on in your life. Europeans love it, because Europeans love sitting outside.
Can't get enough of it, Russ.
Yeah.
Rudely sitting outside with their fine weather and cafe culture.
Well, everyone sits outside.
Whereas if you walked into a pub and they were the only seats available, you'd walk out of that pub.
Yeah. You want a wooden bench. You want a wooden bench in a pub, didn't you?
Yeah. A classic.
Yeah. Well, proper British bench.
The only thing I'd say about the monoblock is it's never happened to me, but I do always live in fear of sitting in one that is slightly cracked, and the idea of them opening up,
and trapping your arse,
snapping,
or trapping your
arse, or worse.
Yes, that does happen on the occasion.
You hear stories, so I'm always kind of slightly trepidatious when I.
That would have made a tremendous ending to this episode if Rod had got one of his nuts trapped in there. It is
if he'd spayed himself.
Baxter was just cracked up with laughter. Had to dash,
and still he would have walked off.
Yeah, absolutely crazy.
No, he would have just sauntered off anyway, at the same pace. No sense of alacrity to him, just that boy.
But what Rod's got here is essentially the same. It's made by a similar process. It's got those separate legs. But I just thought, that was interesting. That made me reconsider an item in my life that I'd never given any thought to ever.
Well, there you go. I've learned something.
Yeah. And
Especially the idea that no one knows where they came from.
yes, I like the mysterious beginnings.
Which does feel like it's almost like a plot point in like a Doctor Who episode. Something so ubiquitous that no one questions it. That's actually
yeah, and it's
pernicious.
infiltrated our society, and they'll just all
and
come to
it's too
life
late.
one day.
Yeah. And all it wants to do is just ask where the cigarette machine is. How could we not trust it?
No. And then Raymond gives Raymond gives us a little rundown of
Bugger off, he bloody well does. Sorry, go on. Oh, no, not without telling us about Australia.
Tells us about his trip to Australia next week, where he's going to see some emu, which I don't know, dangerous game, Mark.
the most dangerous game.
And also mentions that it was 108 degrees or 43 if you prefer. Once again,
which, as somebody who does prefer, I'm very grateful.
Yeah.
But you are right. He is quietly obsessed with the idea that there are two different competing temperature systems. Yeah.
And then that's it. Episode over.
That is incredible, Russ.
In a record 20 minutes.
Let's see if we can get this under 2 hours. Wouldn't that be exciting for everyone? The year in context. Let's start with the cinema box office.
So, classic, not got the week's box office, only got the year's box office, because it's so far back.
Of course.
Number 10.
We've not done 72. Yep.
Mary Queen of Scots.
Okay.
That's Vanessa Redgraves, Glenda Jackson, and Patrick McGoohan. Number 9, Dirty Harry.
Oh, one of your faves, right?
Number 8, Ryan's Daughter.
Oh, yeah.
Number 7, Nicholas and Alexandra.
Okay.
Number 6, oh good, The French Connection.
Oh, bloody.
Number 5, Steptoe and Son.
Wow.
No.
Wow.
Number 4, The Devils.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Number 3, Fiddler on the Roof. Number 2, The Godfather. And number 1, Diamonds Are Forever.
Wow. Oh, I suppose that makes sense. Pop chart, Russ.
Number 10,
Yep.
Got to Be There, Michael Jackson. Number 9, Floy Joy by the Supremes. Number 8, Mother and Child Reunion, Paul Simon. Number 7, Desiderata, Les Crane. Number 6, Meet Me on the Corner, Lindisfarne. Number 5, Hold Your Head Up by Argent. Number 4, American Pie, Don McLean. Number 3, Alone Again Naturally, it's Gilbert O'Sullivan. Number 2, Beg, Steal or Borrow by the New Seekers. And number 1, Without You by Nielsen. Or, as I like to call it, Ken Lee, Illibidibidoubt You.
Of course you do. Russell, do we have an advert you can share with us?
We do. I did accidentally close it. I was closing
I
something else.
thought you did. I could see your tab. It must be in you.
Now, it's not strictly an advert. It's a public information film that would have been played during an advert. Advert break. So I thought this counts.
This is an emergency.
Day and night, the ambulances are bringing the sick and badly injured to the hospitals.
It's my finger.
I'm afraid you'll have to wait.
The patient's heart begins to falter.
Cardiac arrest. This is an emergency.
Actually, I don't think I pulled a muscle.
This is an emergency.
If the heart team can get there in time, they can save a life.
Excuse me. I'm afraid you'll have to wait.
Anyone who goes to an emergency department will be seen. But the real emergencies come first. And you may have to wait. So contact your own doctor first.
This is an emergency.
This is an emergency.
Nice appearance of Brian Glover there.
Yeah.
With a sore finger.
But he has to wait.
But yeah, I thought that was interesting. It was obviously contrasting Brian Glover's sore finger and that other fella sore arm with people dying of heart attacks and
I think I pulled a muscle.
Because there's a lot of a problem these days, isn't there? Isn't there people just going to the hospital rather than their GP because GPs aren't open or whatever? So I just feel like maybe they need to...
GPs are busy.
Yeah.
So, there are malingerers everywhere.
They need to put this back on the TV is what I'm saying, Mark.
They do, yeah. If you updated it, who would play the Brian Blessed role now?
Well, it's got to be a loud northerner.
Yeah.
Peter
played Jim
Kay?
Royal? Yeah, why not? Okay, yeah, I like that one. Yeah. He's too funny there, Russ. Maybe he's too funny. Magazine covers, Russ.
New Scientist. It's got a picture of a monkey on the front. And it says, a blind monkey that sees everything. Scientific American has a picture of a hand. And it says, non-visual light reception. So we're clearly...
Wow, there's a theme.
There's a theme. I don't know whether they're connected or whether the monkey is, got the powers of non-visual light reception.
Is it a monkey's paw?
Popular Science has got loads of cars with trailers on them on the front cover. Camping trailers designed for your small car, which is quite boring considering that elsewhere in the issue, they've also got our secret research on laser weapons. Which would have made a more exciting front cover than just cars and trailers. And then, also interestingly, Apollo 16, Why We're Going Back, by Werner von Braun. So the Nazi rocket scientist Werner von Braun is writing in Popular Science magazine.
You mean the hero of Operation Paperclip, right? Or whatever it was, yeah.
Yeah. Time magazine.
Going back to the moon.
Time magazine, now who's on first, and it's got a painting of George Wallace.
Okay.
Interestingly, Governor George Wallace, there's an assassination attempt on him in May 1972, so it's quite opposite.
Oh,
quite
okay.
Opposite front cover there. Private Eye, Crossman Goes. I had to look up who that was, and it's some Labour minister who was the editor of New Statesman. So it's a very boring front cover. And Playboy, it has a bottle of wine that's just been opened by a Playboy corkscrew, but the bottle of wine is also a naked lady, sort of in the shape of a bottle of wine.
Oh, lovely. How sexy.
And one of the articles inside is beginning a sci-fi thriller by Michael Crichton of Congo the movie fame.
I think you mean Sphere, the movie fame, Russ. God, you always go for the popular choice. Brilliant. So let's crunch the numbers, Russ. Let's crunch the numbers and start auditing this episode proper by asking the first question, which is, of course, what is the most important invention? And I think, obviously there's only 4 segments, but I think the Jaws of Life would literally be the most important invention in any program we see.
Yes, yeah. Actually, I forgot to mention the Jaws of Life, the Hearst company's own website that still advertises the Jaws of Life. They have a scheme where if anybody saves somebody with the Jaws of Life, they can voluntarily tell the website, and they get like a little certificate from them. And they said that even if those are just taken into account, it's over 24,000 lives have been saved. And it's got to be so many more, isn't it? Because that's a voluntary registration thing, and
that's egotists,
and also
that's desperate for attention.
And that's only the ones made by Hearst, and obviously anybody can make them because the patent's free. So it's got to be hundreds of thousands of people saved for that.
Most worthless invention? I think we have a choice of 2.
It's the firework with a flag in it.
It's fireworks, yeah, absolutely.
Can't even sit on that like you can Rod's chair. So
most inaccurate prediction of the future. My assumption is that cigarette smoking will remain the weak link in all security protocols for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Worst screw up. Weirdly, Baxter has a bit of
Baxter fluffs his lines. Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
he does.
I think we're happy with that one. Best attempt at making something boring interesting, which I think is probably the first one.
I would say so.
Trying to make it a spy thriller.
An incredibly unexciting flag.
Yeah, very boring. It is literally boring. Yeah.
They're trying to turn it into a spy thriller.
Yeah. Best use of music?
Yeah, the surprise Rule Britannia, I guess. Yeah. Although I did enjoy at the beginning of the Burke segment the bit where they had the music in time to the indicator on his Mercedes
that was good.
He was driving.
Oh, sod it! That's the answer. Yeah, I like that one because I like that too. That was good. Best or worst use of furniture?
Well,
I think it's got Rod written all over it, hasn't it?
Yeah. Rod gets the
Well done, Rod. The participation prize. And most notable clothing: gold watch.
Oh yeah.
Or as I think maybe you were about to say, looking in your eyes, the kind of left-wing coded donkey jacket outfit.
Yeah. I think it might be. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, I'll go with that one. Did we see anything in the future that made it? Sorry, did we see anything in the episode that made it into the future? And yes, absolutely, the Jaws of Life have made it in.
And computer
cybercrime and computer crime absolutely made it in, or social engineering and plastic furniture.
Yeah.
Thanks to Tomorrow's World. And what does this episode tell us about the 28th of March 1972? I do like the fact that segment on computer game, which is, I think, let me put it this way, the fact that the bulk, it's the shortest episode we've ever covered, and yet, if not the majority, the largest amount is put aside to the Burke segment on computer crime. And I think that is them recognizing that is where the future lies.
Yeah, and also doing a public service as well. Imagine how many people saw that and went, oh, right, when our bosses got, well, we're going to work next day, we're going to have to make sure that we put a padlock on the stationery cupboard and all these, you know. So, yeah, and also those Jaws of Life were just invented from scratch. Guy Parker was the first person to think of this whole thing. Things are being thought of that are not building upon existing things. They are...
Yes.
They're things they're actually coming from first principles.
So to kind of go and knit this into our overarching theory of tomorrow's world that we, is kind of predicating the idea that computers end up destroying the program because everything ends up being computers. This is kind of, in a sense, the Jaws of Life represent the kind of engineering and innovation that we would most celebrate from tomorrow's world, or we'd most celebrate tomorrow's world showing. My friend was in an accident. I will now try and come up with something that saves him.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it is also presaging the ultimate failure of the show by pointing out that everything's going to be computed.
Yeah.
Is this the inflection point, Russ? Is this it? Have we found it after 54
it's
audits?
The Rosetta Stone of tomorrow's world.
God. Oh my God! I'm getting a headache. I always said we retire the show if we could find the inflection point, Russ.
Maybe that's what the reverse exploding cars mean.
Oh no! Well, before we retire the show, Russ, let's look at the Tomorrow World tropes, because I do enjoy collecting them. Presenter having to speak over louder sounds. Sadly, there's no niche bicycle invention. There was nothing to do with oil rigs. There wasn't a suspiciously obvious brand name in the ad-free BBC that I can recall.
No. Commander Ryan doesn't count as a character name.
No. I do like that though. There was. It's sadly, it's not big enough. Clear and blatant lying.
Well, I imagine Gay Parker had to do some clear and blatant lying on the processes of his defrauding the office.
Yeah. All right, happy with that. Sadly, no evil farmers. Evil farmers is going to be the next trope we retire, by the way. Casual sexism, absolutely.
Yeah.
No labs in space filled with darkness and star-coloured light, because that's a later epoch, Tomorrow's World. No Dutch... Oh, was there a Dutch angle?
Don't think so. No.
No item presented in the gantry. No lasers?
No.
No magnets?
No.
Now, boats is the next one. And who, of course, when describing the capacity of a small generator, immediately refers to the universally understood measurement of engine capacity by saying, what was it? Like it was the generator that just... Bingo. Boats, my friend. That man is goddamn obsessed. Does Baxter bugger off? Yes, he bloody well does, yeah. He's barely in the show at all. He leaves so early. And did they travel to Shepherd's Bush? Not that we necessarily know. But,
Burke could have been driving around Shepherd's Bush, but
I did, but unrecognisably so. Yeah. Because we don't know where the business is.
No.
Well, all I have left to say, Russ, is of the 1,409 episodes broadcast, we have now, congratulations to us, have successfully audited 54 episodes, which means that there are only 1,355 episodes remaining, which means that, Russell, we have audited 3.83% of all the episodes, leaving us with a paltry 96.17% left to audit. What will we do with our time?
Good Lord. You should, in honour of this episode, from now on, calculate those figures using a computer with a punch card readout in it. Well, Mark.
Russell.
I'm going to have to go now. Because some very well-dressed gentleman just came over and tapped me on the shoulder, asked me where the stationery cupboard was. So I'm just going to go and show it to him.
Do. So he probably needs it. Is he doing a survey?
Yeah, he's doing a survey. Seems very trustworthy.
Help him out, Ross.
And anyway, I need to go and restock the cigarette machine anyway, so I might as well, do that while I'm down there.
What an efficient, productive worker you are, Ross.
But that was nice, wasn't it? Got one out very quickly there. So
God, it's exciting.
That does mean we're no longer behind on our number of episodes, so we can return, normal service can be resumed. Don't know what we'll do next time, but I'm sure it'll be exciting.
And excitingly, we do feel like we might have come across a small crop of shorter episodes.
So that's it, I guess.
Wonderful.
So thanks for listening, everyone. And if you are on the internet, we will see you tomorrow.
Goodbye!